Want to look at some pictures together?
Yeah, let's look at some pictures.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do a little slideshow here. So let me share my screen. Okay, this is schema? What do you mean?
Well, this could be rotation and circularity because they're bowling. This week we were reading Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, so I also just had a bunch of real coconuts all over the place.
Nice.
So they're bowling with coconuts. You can't really tell.
Okay.
So they did notice the difference between the ball that they usually use for bowling rolling and the way the coconuts didn't really roll in the same way. So they're getting data about rotation and circularity here. Could also be trajectory as the pins fly through the air when you, or knock over as you hit them with the coconut or the ball.
Okay. Okay, so exploring the materials or the motion, the movement.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay. Okay. What's going on here? I love it.
You can't really tell, but there are 4 boys behind that umbrella. 3, 4, and 5-year-old boys. Okay. We read a book about an umbrella and then again just put a bunch of umbrellas all over the place.
Just to see what would happen.
Yeah, sort of loose parts, right?
Yeah.
And so they were trying to figure out how to all get behind the umbrella and stay behind the umbrella together and go down this roller slide behind the umbrella.
Wow.
And there was so much conversation and problem solving and like cognitive flexibility and humor and hearing each other's ideas and trying each other's ideas. It just, it's one of those things that, yeah, it's cute. They're all behind an umbrella, but they're also really working together and having fun and practicing all kinds of skills behind that umbrella. I'm trying to think what schema I put this in after making the bold claim that they're all going to be a schema.
They're enveloped, a little enveloped.
They are enveloped. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Enveloping and enclosing. Yeah, trying to all get behind that one space and stay with a defined space.
And, I love seeing slides used in unorthodox ways.
Yeah.
Because often, so many times that's poo-pooed or you got to do one at a time, et cetera, let alone 4 at a time, let alone 4 at a time.
In an
umbrella. So that's great. The adults are right there, whatever, to step in if they need to or, help along the way, guide.
Yeah.
But still to be able to have that kind of freedom again without shame and guilt.
Right. And that's what we did. Like this was in actually a speech and hearing clinical preschool.
Okay.
So that's why they're in their scrubs. These are grad students who were actually studying to be speech language pathologists, but learning how to embed that therapeutic practice in play. Okay. And they were of varying levels of comfort with any kind of risky play
I bet, yes.
or transgressive kinds. I joke that I think transgressing should be a full schema category.
Oh man, that's good.
So I'm playing around with that. But so that's, we told them if you're worried about it, just move closer, but don't necessarily stop it. So that's why you see 2 people right there on either side.
They don't look like they're totally comfortable, but
but they're trying.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, here they're really trying here.
Yeah. So this, I think, is orientation and perspective. I would put it into that area of schema because it changes how they see the whole playground when they get up higher like this.
Okay.
They were doing the floor is lava, the playground's lava, whatever. And they were only, if they could get up there themselves, they could, but none of us were lifting kids up onto this ledge, which took some negotiating, but also transforming because the ground was lava. It turned into something else. So they had to change the way they moved around the space and transform both the idea of what the ground was and the way that they moved around the space. And I think I like this one because a lot of times schema play is thought of only in terms of cognitive kind of experiences.
Okay.
But this is a whole body physical kind of experience in their schema play, and certainly social as they influenced others to join the game, and some emotional navigation as they could or couldn't get up the wall.
Yes.
The playground's very spongy. If anyone's nervous about that, that's that really super spongy surface.
That's right. It's not concrete.
Okay. But I love that in that picture, the graduate clinicians got up with them on the wall.
Yeah. So, they're very cute. They're getting some perspective too.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Freddie's painting that I was talking about. He would start around the edges and then fill it in. So he'd create a space enclosing the rest of the paint, like going around the border, and then he'd fill it in and envelop the paper with all that paint.
Okay.
The other way that he painted is he really liked us to write his name on the paper, and then he would immediately cover it up with paint and laugh, and then we'd write his name in another spot, and he'd immediately envelop his name with paint. And we just went back and forth with that.
Huh. How old is Freddie now?
He is probably 9.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's not 20 yet.
No, he's not
No,
20
no.
yet.
Okay,
This wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
Although most of the kids in this book are right around probably 8 or 9 now.
What's going on here?
Yeah, this one is actually in the book as one of the enveloping and enclosing stories. This is Warren. In that little shelf, the green things that you see are like vinyl circles to take to circle time to mark where they were supposed to sit.
Okay.
I was observing in a classroom that wasn't mine. And I suspect he was only allowed to play in this way because I was there. I think otherwise he would have been redirected.
Yes.
From climbing into a shelf. That's not what the shelf is for. That's so dangerous.
Right. That's right.
So again, here's a transgressing schema if I ever flush that out. But he worked so hard. He really wanted to get his whole body into that space.
Yeah.
And so he tried this way. He took the things out when he realized that didn't work. He tried feet first. He tried head first. He tried butt first. By the end, he had a little crowd watching and cheering him on and giving him suggestions of things to try and then celebrating when he got inside of it. It was really, really wonderful to watch. But also, I mean, the way the book is set up is that each of the chapters that cover a schema, like the enclosure schema, a chapter has a story like this, like Warren's story. And then I talk about, here's what I think he might have gotten socially, emotionally, math, science, literacy, and brain development. And then a little bit of further discussion after that. So it was really fun to think about, what does this have to do with foundational math experiences for a 3-year-old? What does this have to do with literacy to see him climbing into this space? So
interesting.
Buy the book and find out.
That's right. That's right. All the answers are there. Now, does this schema theory have any parallel or connection with, say, play as that kind of early survival of like, oh, they got into little spaces so that they could hide from the lion, or is it different?
I mean, I think in the sense that evolution is about survival always, and you need to understand the world you're in to survive.
Yeah.
I know there are folks who think that's a really extreme way to think about children's play, because we feel like, well, we're here to keep them surviving. We're here to make sure they survive. But I don't know that necessarily removes the drive from your brain.
No, for sure. No.
And so I do really think that there is a remnant of that evolutionary necessity of survival that drives a lot of this stuff.
Getting in their little nooks, hiding in their little nooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Transforming?
It's transforming. This is also part of connecting and disconnecting. There was a lot of tape in the classroom for like a month. And what you can't see is they're trying to tape me to the shelf behind there. They were trying to connect me. So they are transforming in that they're changing how I looked and the tape. But this really was them being sort of obsessed with taping things together. And then I was taped to a chair, which was pretty fun. And then they tried to tape me to this shelf.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah. The transforming and the attaching. Oh,
yeah.
So
the little guy in the sweater, the striped sweater, is again now 8 or 9. And when I asked his mom to sign a release form for me to tell his story, she wanted to check with him first. So she asked him for his permission, and he danced and sang a song about how he's going to be famous. And so she sent me this video of him dancing and singing, "I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be famous." And lo, here he is.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah. That's transforming for me. I think it could also fit into trajectory, the hardest schema to say, as he changed the beanbag's function and practiced a different way of moving himself through space, coming up with a different use for those beanbags.
Okay. So transforming the object.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Also in the book, this is Alejandro. He was 2. Loose parts again. I was teaching a group of 1 and 2-year-olds, working with a group of 1 and 2-year-olds, brought in a bunch of these brown paper grocery bags just to see what happened. And there was a lot
Yeah.
of transporting and a lot of tearing, which is connecting and disconnecting. But he just walked around with it over his head for most of the first morning. So that was, I think this is both enclosing and enveloping, of course, but also orientation and perspective, because it changed the skills he had to use and the way he had to look, to see things, to move around the space.
Yeah.
Like he, instead of seeing the whole classroom, he just saw his feet in the floor and the bottom parts of the furniture. And yeah, that's one of my favorite stories in the book.
Yeah, that is great. It's so funny. It's like all these pictures of like kids doing these funny things that, we as adults, if we're doing this stuff, we're playful people. We probably do a little bit of this stuff.
Yeah.
I can't help but put a bag on my head and every now and then.
Right.
Right?
I definitely did when we had him in the classroom.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But then funny to think of like, I don't know. We just think about children and play and okay, this is what they do. They do fun stuff, or they see the fun, or they see right, or it's cute.
Yeah.
But it's like the idea that they are drawn and over, and kids, in this classroom, the next classroom over, the next city over, all over the world are still doing these things.
Yeah. That one is a good example too of me having to do some professional development myself. Like as I looked at this and I tried to think, what's the possible social value of him walking around alone with a paper bag over his head?
Yeah.
And that led me to reading a lot about the development of humor and how humor connects people socially. And then I was like, yeah, kids were definitely laughing, and he was laughing and fake bumping into things. And it was just really nerdy fun for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
My Jane. So Jane, what you don't see in this photo is that this is a toddler classroom. The teacher who was with them got out Play-Doh and then got out all the traditional stuff, rolling pins, cookie cutters, tried to show them how they should do it, trying to get them to flatten their Play-Doh and roll it out. And they're both just exploring it in their own way. Jane was just pulling it apart into little pieces and then smashing it back up again.
Yeah.
And then pulling it apart into little pieces and smashing it back up again. The other child was, there's maybe you can see a stick there, but she just had popsicle sticks and was like sticking it in and holding it and waving it around. And they had their own ideas about how to use the Play-Doh, and their own ideas were much more complex than roll this out and make a shape with the cookie cutter.
Gosh, isn't that funny?
Yeah. So disconnecting and connecting is the biggest schema I see here.
It's interesting too, of like the development of products. I'm a designer. I come from the design side of things. And I mean, I remember this early on designing playground equipment. It's like we have this idea, okay, we're going to design this thing and this is how kids are going to use it. So we make a prototype, schedule it, kids come, and right away they're not using it the way that you thought they were going to use it. And then if you suddenly you're telling kids, oh no, you're supposed to use it like this. And then you feel ridiculous and realize that's completely wrong. You're wrong as the adult. But it's like, so this Play-Doh thing, it's got like the thing that you do that looks good on the cover of the box, right? It's like graphic design. And it's almost like that looks good for the adult who's going to buy it.
Right.
But then the kids are going to use it. And ultimately, if the adult is really open and understands play, then they're going to use it a million billion ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acts of political resistance from a 2-year-old.
Yeah. But then it's just the schema that they can't help it. They look at that and you look at the picture on the box and be like, that doesn't even look interesting.
Boring.
I just want to tear it. I just want to rip that Play-Doh apart.
That's my Lola. I miss her. So I included this picture because I think, again, I know I already said that we tend to think most of the work about schema that's out there is cognitive, neck up kinds of thinking about how children are learning or what they're doing. But I think there's also this strong social and emotional component, right? And so this one is connecting, and this is connecting and disconnecting. Lola and I were connecting in this moment, physically and emotionally. And I think about things like playing chase games are connecting and disconnecting.
Yeah.
Children constantly asking why. I don't necessarily think it's always a thirst for knowledge. I think sometimes it's, I see you guys connecting and having these ongoing conversations, and I don't know how to keep you here, so I'm going to keep asking why and keep connected to you in that way. So I included this one because I like to think about, I want to talk more about things beyond just their cognitive development when we think about what happens during play that's valuable.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Emotional. I like this expression there.
He was working so hard.
Yeah.
So this is Teddy. In the book, he's Bert. This was his thing. Every morning he would go to the shed when we went outside, and he would get this bag of kickballs and basketballs. And first he was just dragging it around the playground, and he's not pretending they're anything. He's just transporting it like just around the perimeter. And then he started trying to get it up into, we have one of those big saucer swings. And then he started trying to get it up into this climbing structure and down the slide and through tunnels. And he had to do so much. I mean, it's all spatial experience and problem solving and figuring out that if he tried to get through too small of a space, it would bounce him backwards again, and he had to completely rethink it. There was one day when they were dinosaur eggs, but other than that, it was just always Teddy. So it's a good example of how it doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's not functional play. He's just dragging a bag of kickballs around. He had reasons. He was getting data about everything he did with that transporting schema.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. And doing that over and over, and where other kids wouldn't, but he was drawn to it.
Yeah. Yep. And they, some of them noticed it and they'd maybe walk around with him a little bit, but they weren't too bothered. Somebody else might have said, well, that's unfair for him to have all the balls. Well, if other kids had expressed interest, that would have been another opportunity for Teddy to practice a skill.
There you go. Yeah.
But they weren't. They didn't care. They had their own things going on.
Yeah. Now, is this the playground at your college?
No, this is actually at Purdue, which is also in town here. This was where I worked in that speech language clinical preschool.
Oh,
that's where a lot of this work started.
Okay.
At my college, we don't have a child care program.
Oh,
I know, it's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, here I was going to comment about, look at all that nice grass outside the fence.
Right.
That nice nature, the natural stuff out there.
Yep. That's Teddy again, same little guy.
Okay.
Katrina, this is uber transforming. We had bowls from making Play-Doh the day before, drying on the counter. And Katrina asked if they could use it to mix their own things, and just started hauling water back and forth from the sink in measuring cups. And they've got straws and cotton balls and popsicle sticks, and they used tempera paint to change the color, and then they dipped markers in to change the color of the water. And I'm sure there were people around cringing that we were wasting materials, or they weren't respecting the materials, or that's not what we do in the science area. But it was a lot of science.
For sure. Yeah. That is funny. Yeah. No, that could be the best use of materials ever.
This is my least favorite photo because I know that they've got torn up cotton balls in that water, and the thought of cotton balls makes my skin crawl, let alone tearing them up and putting them in water.
That's funny.
I just want points for bravery.
Good job. You got it. Don't even think about that stuff. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's mine.
Yeah.
Is a tennis lesson schema?
Sure. Yeah. It's trajectory. They're figuring out how to make those rackets move through the air and their bodies move through space and the balls move across the court.
Okay.
Definitely trajectory.
Oh, okay. I was picking a couple that I didn't think were golf. Okay, I guess this is. I was supposed to be no.
Foiled.
Yeah, foiled. It's all schema. There's schema for everything.
I did just interviews with college professors and parents and friends before I wrote the book. They watched a little video I did about schema, and then I interviewed them. And one of my friends was like, "Well, if everything is schema, does it matter?" if everything can be a
Okay.
schema, does it matter?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it depends. It matters to me because it helps me frame what I'm seeing and wonder about what I'm seeing and talk about
Yeah.
what I'm seeing. But you could call this whatever you want and still talk about the value or the lack of value for the child, but it helps some people to have a framework.
Yeah. You're like, it's a theory. Damn it.
Yeah,
It's a theory.
exactly. It's a theory. How dare you challenge me?
It's a theory.
Oh, I love that.
They're in there.
Yeah.
That's some schema. We wanted
Yeah.
to get inside that space.
Yeah. Fort building and fort making. It's
Mm-hmm.
the enclosure and enveloping
Getting
schema
in
for
there.
sure. Oh,
Stirring
uh-huh.
concoction.
Uh-huh. That could be transforming for sure, changing two ingredients into one new thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be rotation and circularity. If you notice the child was really just fascinated with the stirring motion.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes you have to watch, you have to observe closely and it's the scientific method. I think it's this schema, but I look more and it's not. Like there's a little girl named Millie who always played in the dramatic play area, and it was always a bossy mom scenario. And that was really her choice. And one day she started playing with train tracks and trains. And I was like, oh, okay, she's into trains now. I'm going to bring in train books and I'm going to talk to her about trains. And she could care less. She didn't want to be involved in any of that. So I kept watching. She kept choosing it. And I realized it was about connecting and disconnecting. It wasn't about the train. It was about connecting and disconnecting the track pieces.
Gosh.
And connecting and disconnecting, figuring out the magnets on the train cars. So I don't know. It's just
amazing.
it's really fun for me.
Yeah. Have you been able to, do you ever try to go back into the child brain, like, and see it that way? Of like, because as an adult, we can't help but see like it's a train and you do,
Yeah.
choo choo, but like, what
Yeah.
is
I mean,
that?
I think that's one of the reasons this framework is so interesting to me, because it makes me think beyond my assumption of what's happening. It's the wondering for me, right? It's not necessarily the knowing. I think there are things we can know or get close to knowing, but it's the wondering that's really interesting for me. And I think it's the wondering that helps us support and extend, because we have to be more curious about what's really happening.
I love it. I love it. And the wondering leaves room for, it's like magic and we
Yes.
don't know. In a society where we always have to know, or you associate
Right.
value. It's like, no, actually we're giving value to the not knowing.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Yeah.
And then that's freedom for us as adults too, to
For sure. I think it's a much less stressful way of going through your day.
yeah, right, wondering.
Oh, look at that. Amazing. I want to play.
Okay. That's the Anarchy Zone here in Ithaca.
Nice.
This is like paintbrushes in
Uh-huh.
the erasers, and they're just taking the water and then thwapping it out in the
Uh-huh.
air and over.
Yeah. I mean, I if that's really what the interest was making the water move through the air by flapping your paintbrush, then I'd call that trajectory.
Huh. Just seeing what that does and
Yeah.
what that feels like, because it's a whole
Yeah.
water off a paintbrush is a certain
Yeah.
type of trajectory, I guess.
Yeah. Oh. Look at those baby legs.
Yeah, really.
uh, wow.
Would that
Okay.
be?
I'm all inside my head now, and I'm like, it can't all be everything again. But I mean, if they're really paying attention to the way the water is moving, then that might be a trajectory kind of fascination. It could also be transforming. Now our hair feels different because it's wet, and our clothes feel different because they're wet.
Uh-huh.
It could, I mean, transforming also, I think, includes things children do with their voices. So if they're going from quiet to loud squeals and they notice that change and that difference,
Uh-huh.
that could be part of a transforming exploration.
Interesting.
Fun.
Lugging some muddy water around.
Yeah. Yeah. My first inclination is to say that's connecting because they're working together. That's a social schema more than a cognitive schema, maybe, but they're having to work together and carry it together. So they're connecting in that way.
Yeah. Like
and
that.
Transporting, they're carrying it. Fire.
Fire. This is a Fire and Ice Festival at Ithaca
Uh,
Children's Garden.
I love that.
So what would that be?
I'm thinking. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's transformation. They're changing the materials, but I wonder what else, where else I might put that. Hmm. There might be, I mean, like if they're experimenting with, sometimes the materials are in a pile and sometimes they're straight, or then it could be positioning and ordering.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, nice. I played with a lot of fire when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
Unsanctioned.
Yeah. Of course, you gotta.
We had a burn barrel. We lived in a tiny little town in Nebraska, and we had a burn barrel in the backyard for our trash. And my neighbor Mike and I would get long sticks and pull things out of the trash, put it on the stick, and melt it over the burn barrel,
Oh
and
yeah.
then keep all the little melted stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Not an adult in sight.
Huh. Here's some
Oh,
Kaplan nature to play stuff.
uh-huh.
Loose
Beautiful.
parts, putting it in the
Pine cones.
bin. Sorting, is that one?
Yeah.
Sorting.
Well, I was trying to think where sorting and classifying fits, because it definitely does. Sometimes it's positioning and ordering, ordering these things belong in this bucket and these things belong in this bucket. So maybe that's what that could be. There's an element of transporting anytime you fill or empty things.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Must put pine cones in bin.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rolling, rolling
Oh,
apples.
yeah, I'd call that one trajectory.
Uh-huh.
Maybe also some transforming if the apples change as a result of being
That's
rolled down
right.
the
That's
slide.
right. Right. Watch what
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, it could be some rotation and circularity information they're getting from this too, especially if they've experienced rolling other round things down the slide and see that it's different with apples than it is with a plastic ball or something like that.
Right.
Ooh, that's taken me back. We had a crabapple tree in the yard.
Oh yeah.
Playing with those rotten crab apples.
Man, I know. It was like crabapple fights my whole childhood.
Yes,
People,
yes,
ouch, ouch, they
yes.
sting.
Lots of crab apples in the potion making,
Yeah.
putting firecrackers inside them.
Whoa, really? Yeah. See what
70s
happens.
were a different time.
I know. Come on, kids aren't doing that these days.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then
what's happening here?
Okay, last but not least, yeah, this is the birdseed filling.
Oh,
This
sure
what
it
he
is.
was filling, pouring, scooping.
Yeah, transporting for sure.
Yeah.
But also maybe some trajectory. Like I have another set of photos of a little girl at the sand table, and you could see that she was like pouring from a height and then pouring from down closer and then putting her hand in it to see that it
Yeah.
deflected the sand around differently. So if you see that kind of experimenting, then maybe it's more about the trajectory through space than it is about transporting from one container to another.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. All right. Well, hey, I kept you a long time here.
That was fun.
But yeah, thank you so much.